Hey there and welcome to this video. I don't have an iPad, but I still enjoy making digital lettering cliparts, and in this video I want to show you how. But first we need to letter something using a normal brush pen. The next step is to scan it in and import it into Gimp or whatever software you are using. Alright, so I imported the scanned image into Gimp, and I've already mentioned it in some other videos, but I'm gonna do it again. I don't have Gimp installed in English. I hope you can still follow along. So the first thing I'm gonna do is to adjust the contrast a little bit. I'm gonna do this with going to colors, then curves, and I'm gonna put this side a little bit up and this side a little bit down. And then hit OK so that the white is a little bit more white and the black is getting darker. Now I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, zoom out. Now I'm gonna select this magic bond tool. If you don't get those tools over here, if they are not shown over here, you can always go to tools and then selection, and then there's the magic wand. And then I'm gonna click on the hey part, and it selects everything I think right now. If not, you can adjust the value over here. So if I lower this value a little bit, you see it doesn't select everything. And if I adjust it a little bit. Another tip is to use a dark brush pen so that you can get a high contrast. Okay, so next I'm gonna use the brush tool, and I'm just gonna fill everything in so that it's a solid black. As you could see, it was more of a grayish scale. And now I'm gonna add an alpha channel to the layer. So I'm right clicking on the layer and then alpha channel, or add alpha channel. Going to selection and invert. Now I can click on the eraser and erase the background. Now all you need to do is to export it as a PNG image and not JPEG. If you export it as an JPEG, it won't export the transparent background, so export it as a PNG. Okay, so that's a very quick and easy way to create lettering clip arts, but for getting better results, I use a graphic tablet. Okay, so this time I'm just gonna use the magic wand tool directly without adjusting the contrast, because it does actually a pretty good job. If it doesn't, again, you can adjust the value here or adjust the contrast, but as it selects the right areas or the word hey and nothing of the background, I'm gonna leave it as it is and just color in the word hey. And now before I invert the selection, I'm gonna increase it first. So I'm gonna go to increase and by 2 pixels, and now I'm gonna invert the selection. And I'm not gonna erase this time because I want to use my tablet or my graphic tablet to erase it near the border by hand, basically. That's why I increased the selection a little bit so you can see that this is still shown. And to avoid mistakes, I want to add a mask layer. So I'm right clicking on the layer here and add one, and have selected the white one here on the top and add. And what it does is actually that I can use my brush and make sure that this right image is selected, not the left one, because this way I'm gonna only edit the mask and not the image itself. And everything that's gonna be painted in black on this mask is gonna get transparent, and everything that's white, so if I'm switching the color to white, it gets back. I don't know how to explain it, but you can see what I mean. And so if I do any mistakes and I erase something that I didn't want to erase, I can easily bring it back, if that makes sense. I hope so. And that's why I prefer this method over just using the eraser. And so I can now just make everything transparent here. And now I'm going to use my tablet to erase those by hand just to get a cleaner edge, because as you can see here, zoomed in a little bit too much, it's a little bit, I don't know how to say it, but you can see hopefully that it's not a clear edge, and I feel I get better results using a tablet. So I'm gonna do this, but first I'm gonna select nothing, or I don't know how else to say this, but I'm just gonna select this nothing pattern that nothing is selected. I'm also gonna decrease the size of my brush, maybe a little bit bigger. Also, another advantage that the layer masks have and why I like, or why I prefer using those instead of just erasing, is I can easily erase into the lettering. Why doesn't it erase? Oh, because I still have the other layer visible underneath. So I can just erase into this so that I get this sharp edge and make it back visible. And so I don't need to decrease it to 1 pixel all the time just to get this, or 2 pixels, whatever. It's just way easier to have it at a larger size, or have the brush at a larger size, and just go in a little bit more and then just paint over it again. Okay, now before I export it, I'm gonna click on the image itself, not on the mask, because I wanna go in with the black brush there as well. So because there are still some white spaces that I left, or yeah, that I left just because this line was a little bit too thin, so I wanted to thicken it up a little bit. So it didn't erase everything, and so I'm gonna zoom out a bit. And I'm gonna select the brush tool, and I'm clicking on the image itself, so the left image, make sure that this one is selected, and I'm gonna increase the size of my brush. I'm just gonna go over it, and you can see that it changes a little bit. That's completely fine. And now you can export it. Alright, so you could leave it here, but I sometimes even want better results and smoother lines, and for that I take the lettering clipart that I just created in Gimp, whether it was with the tablet or without it, and import it into Inkscape and edit it more over there. Okay, I imported the clipart into Inkscape, and now first I'm gonna change the size of the canvas to the image size. So I go to settings and then change size to content. I don't know what it is in English. And then I'm just clicking on this one here, and then I just need to click on the X. And I'm going to path over here, and again same issue, it's not installed in English, but I hope you can follow along. And then trace bitmap. I'm just gonna leave those settings that there are, go to refresh maybe, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm clicking this button down here, and then OK, and then the X again. And this created an SVG file, I think. So I'm gonna put this aside, I'm clicking this, I'm gonna delete it, and I'm putting this back here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, because now if I can zoom in as much as I want and it won't get any pixels. That's the advantage, because this way I can also scale it up and scale it down, and without any quality issues. And now if I click on the symbol over here, I can even edit this clip art, and can, as you can see, there are lots of those points, and I'm not sure what it's called. And what I usually like doing is just delete a bunch of those so that there are not too many edges, because you can see it's a little bit wonky, and this way I can fix it and clean it up a little bit more. So you can just clicking on there and select a bunch and then just delete those. Also over here, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. Then I can just edit it this way. Also, you can change the kind of, I'm not sure what it's called, but as you can see, if I'm gonna That's actually not the one I wanted to select, but if I select this one and I take this, just moves this side. If you want to move it both that side so that you don't get an edge here, because if I do it like this, you see there's an edge, and I click on this, and now I click on this symbol over here, and now both sides move, and so it's smoother. I'm just gonna edit this one very quickly and show it in a more sped up version. And again, I just need to export it. I sometimes export it as an SVG file, depending on for what I'm using it. If I'm gonna import it into Gimp, I can use it as an SVG file, and this way I can import it at any size. Or I just export it as a PNG file. So that's how I turn my letterings that I create with normal brush pens into digital clip arts. And here you can see a comparison between those 3 different methods to see what the difference is. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe see you on some other ones. Some other ones? Did I say that right? I think so. Bye!